The impact of REDD Plus policies and activities on Indigenous peoples will depend largely on the recognition of their rights and their level of meaningful participation in all REDD Plus phases, alongside the nature and effectiveness of safeguards and grievance mechanisms applied at international and national levels. Indigenous peoples are concerned about being pushed aside and swept under the carpet by other stakeholders and not being given the recognition, voice and protection they deserve. They are worried about not having a meaningful role in something that has the potential to completely change their lives and who they are. Indigenous peoples are concerned that many countries participating in REDD Plus programs do not recognise or adhere to their rights as outlined in UNDRIP or FPIC. What can be done about this? These rights are an integral element of the REDD Plus initiative and include, most importantly, rights to their traditional lands and territories. But will REDD Plus be used as a mechanism to ignore or gloss over these rights? Indigenous peoples are concerned that in order to take part in a meaningful way, they need to have education and information alongside capacity building. They need to be able to identify and elect their own representatives and then guide them to work in their interests. They are concerned that this has not and will not happen. They are dismayed that they are still seen as a problem as opposed to an opportunity for protecting and enhancing forests. The belief by outsiders that they are drivers of deforestation through the use of shifting cultivation and the gathering of non-timber forest products is often used as an excuse to exclude Indigenous peoples. The IPCC and the FAO, among many other organisations, recognise after research that shifting cultivation is not a driver of deforestation or a contributor to climate change. In areas where Indigenous peoples have been studied, there is increased biodiversity, enriching our world. Indigenous peoples are concerned that despite this apparent support for their traditional way of life, constraints will be put upon forest and land use for farming under a smokescreen of REDD Plus. The reasoning will probably be protection of the forests and mitigating climate change, ignoring evidence and trivialising the beneficial relationship of Indigenous peoples to the forests. This will lead to food security issues and displacement from their traditional homes, as well as the loss of their culture and our last remaining link to the earth. Indigenous peoples are rightly concerned about how financial benefits will be shared. There do not seem to be currently clear terms of how this will be achieved. They are rightly concerned that high-powered corruption will put rewards in undeserving hands. There are questions being asked in Indigenous circles that even if REDD Plus was equitably implemented, would this truly be part of a worldwide initiative to reduce carbon? Or would it be used as a get-out clause for industrialised countries to ignore their responsibilities and continue to pollute? Indigenous peoples are concerned that as they step into an unknown future with the introduction of REDD Plus, that safeguards and grievance mechanisms are poorly implemented. What protection is there for Indigenous peoples if things do go wrong or need to be changed? Indigenous peoples are strong, adaptable and resilient, but they will be in the front line. They are poorly represented and often an underestimated force for good. REDD Plus has so much potential for everyone, but only if it is properly and equitably implemented. In part, this means strengthening forest and land rights by shifting their ownership to Indigenous peoples and recognising the importance of this transfer to the REDD Plus process.